How old are you?
I'm 36.
Are you single right now?
Yes.
Why do you feel like you're still single?
I don't settle. I'm very independent, and I just broke up with someone. I'm usually the one doing the breaking up because I don't date just to date like a lot of girls or a lot of people, and I'm very fine being single and content being alone.
You smell that? I smell cat.
Do you feel like men your age want a woman who is as independent as you are right now?
Yeah, because I'm independent, and it usually works well that the guy is independent, so we're not codependent, or he's not dependent on me. That doesn't really work out.
Income-wise, how much do you expect him to be making at 36?
To have a family and raise kids and live comfortably in a city, at least 200K a year, I'd say.
God damn it! You can't.
And that's what you're bringing to as well, right?
Right now, no.
Okay. But that's your expectation?
Yeah, bare minimum.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Silent regret of the boss babe era. By 2030, nearly half of working women are going to be projected as unmarried and childless. Not because they failed, not because they're not capable, but because they followed the feminism plan that they were given. From their early 20s, many women were told the same thing. Focus on school, build a career, be independent. Relationships can wait, family can wait. You have time. We've all heard that, right? So they listened. They worked the longer hours. They delayed the dating. They passed on good men because now is just not the time. Maybe they put their relationships on hold because the success felt too urgent in the moment. Now, in your late 20s and early 30s, it works, right? You feel empowered, stable, validated, in total control. Psychology shows a shift that often happens in the late 30s, not because your ambition was wrong, not because success is bad, but because fulfillment does not follow the corporate timeline. That's when the realization hits you, and it hits you hard. I've been grinding since my early 20s. I did everything right. I have security. I'm financially stable. And I'm alone. And this is the part that doesn't really get talked about that much. Achievement gives dopamine, right? It's short term. It eventually fades, but connection creates meaning, and meaning lasts. And there's decades of research that show after basic financial stability, more money stops increasing long-term happiness. What does predict life satisfaction is close relationships, partnership, family, and a shared purpose. But biology doesn't negotiate with culture. Attachment does not wait forever, and men who want families don't pause their lives indefinitely. That's why this warning doesn't land at 30. The cost doesn't show up right away. It shows up later, and sometimes when it's too late. This is not anti-career. It is sure as hell not anti-independence, and I am not shaming women. I'm just telling the truth here, okay? You can build success. You can build wealth. You can build power. Just do not let anybody convince you that everything can be postponed without consequence, because that's not true. Some doors close to punish you. They close because time moves forward. You still have time, just not as much as you were told.
The golden boy with avoidant attachment and the boss babe with anxious attachment are one of the most painful common relationships out there. In their stress, the guy will become more people-pleasing, calm and passive, and the boss babe gets more demanding, loud and controlling. Both of them grew up in a household where they experienced neglect and abandonment, which then became their motto for relationships which they now create in their adult life. At first, there's fireworks and intense attraction between these two, and to them, it seems as if they're soulmates. But the golden boy with his calm and pleasing behaviors provides a sense of safety at first that the boss babe craves and lacks in her everyday life. Now, the boss babe's intense, passionate, and outspoken personality is attractive to the golden boy, who suppresses and detaches from his own emotions, and through her he gets to feel alive again. You see, the golden boy actually has a deep sense of shame and low self-worth, which causes him to value achievement, people-pleasing, and avoiding conflict. Conditioned to be this way since childhood, these behaviors are fear-based survival strategies that ultimately feel extremely unfulfilling in the end. On the other hand, the boss babe has a deep-rooted fear of being abandoned and has learned to be hyper-masculine to feel safe and get her needs met. And while it may look very empowering in the eyes of a masculine society, she is constantly burnt out and unfulfilled as well. Eventually, the very things that attracted them to each other eventually makes them resent each other. What used to soothe their pain now only does the opposite of it. You see, the golden boy's pleasing and easygoing nature now feels passive and unsafe for the boss babe, which echoes the same pain from her childhood, where she lacked that protection and presence from her parents, resulting in abuse and abandonment. And now the boss babe's passionate and charismatic energy now feel harsh and too demanding for the golden boy. You see, the truth is that the golden boy doesn't actually want to be the golden boy that's always pleasing and scared of shame, suppressing his feelings and being a pleaser, but the fears inside him, again, childhood fears, convince him that he has to be this way. The boss babe, on the other hand, doesn't want to be a boss babe either, always having to be in control and hyper-vigilant. Again, the fears inside her convince her that she has to be this way. And if both of them continue to let these fears dictate their personality, by one continuing to be the golden boy, and the other continuing to be the boss babe, they will just continue to recreate this old childhood pattern from one relationship to the next. However, they can stop the cycle, and it will be the most difficult work of their lifetime, but they're going to have to challenge the beliefs and behaviors that make up their personality. Instead of running that hamster wheel of doing what they've always done, they're going to have to feel and face the mountain of pain that is underneath the surface, which has been driving their every fear and desire since childhood. If any of this resonates with you, and you want to do something about it and begin healing the root cause of all of this, connecting into the body, connecting into where those old traumas and emotional wounds originate from, then read the description below and definitely subscribe and follow for more.
The reason why a lot of women reject good-looking men is because they're intimidated by them. See, they can't leverage their looks, they can't leverage their box. They have to say, you know what? I ain't gonna deal with you because I have no power.
So you don't agree that women should be successful on their own? You just think that they need to depend on a man and get married young?
That's a false choice that you're creating. You're saying, like, either I have to be completely dependent on my man and never do anything with my life, or I have to be successful on my own first and then find somebody. It's biological reality that you have a limited fertility window in your life where it's best for you to have children between the ages of about 20 to 35. So if you spend all of your 20s going to college and building a career and you don't even think about settling down until you're 30, which I think you had said that. You said, I'm going to wait until all my eggs are pretty much gone and then I'll think about getting a husband at the end of my fertile years. It's not that you can't get pregnant like in your later 30s or even your early 40s, but it gets harder and harder. You have higher risk of complications. And if you have your first one when you're 35, you might have one more. And that's the main reason that we only have 1.6 births per woman in this country and in most developed countries around the whole world now, because women are waiting. So
Okay, man.
Men who are Republican tend to want wives like Melania, but daughters like Ivanka, meaning they understood that for them, it would be more beneficial and they would feel safer having a wife who is a little bit less career and more nurturing, quiet. Wow, you're so insecure that you need your wife to not be like a high-powered CEO. You need to be the one that's in control. But when it comes to your daughter, you're fully aware of how much she would benefit off being able to be independent on her own and having that kind of fulfillment. So for yourself, you want that kind of wife, but for your daughter, you want a different life entirely. That really opened my eyes to a lot of this.
I just wanted to say, like, I see a lot of female, like, CEOs and bosses, and I think that's brilliant. But one thing that needs to be abundantly clear is that a lot of times these female CEOs have husbands or partners or a man in their life that is helping them fund their dreams. So if you are a young girl watching this and thinking, God, how do I start a business? What do I do? What you need to realize that behind the scenes, they may have a man that's taken care of all their basic life essentials. And as a result, they have the luxury of being able to pursue their dreams rather than just pursuing a job that will pay the bills. And because they've got that luxury of time and investment, they can then take over the world. But don't feel like you're behind because you can't do that by yourself, because a lot of the times it's not by themselves.
One thing I had to do in order to achieve my goals and be where I am today was I had to pull away from everybody else around me. I had to isolate myself. Had no choice, because this thing in my head just kept self-sabotaging me, and I didn't want to outperform other people. I didn't want to seem like I was working harder than other people, that I was trying to be better than them. And I think that's because I was raised to be a people pleaser, which sucks. And I have to unlearn a lot of those things. Still unlearning at the age of 28. It's just insane. And it was like, I just could not, I felt bad outperforming people or like being really good at something that the rest of the people around me were not, or making more money than them. And even now, like, I downplay a lot of the things that I do. I downplay my job. I downplay how much money I make. I just try to fit in with the general vibe of people around me, which I think is part of why I love being alone so much. And this is not trying to sound condescending in any sort of way. But if you also feel like this and you have goals that you need to accomplish, that you want to accomplish, and you're frustrated on why it's not working, and you feel like something's holding you back, it might just be your environment and the people around you. And it's definitely a sacrifice, more so for some than for others. Like for me, it was a sacrifice in the beginning because I had been going out all the time. I was hanging out with my friends all the time. But once I really started, like once I buckled down and I made a plan and I was like, okay, listen, you can't go out anymore. You have to work every single day to get to where you want to be, because that's what it took for me. That's when I achieved my goals. Like here I am today. So it was almost kind of a relief rather than a sacrifice, because not that I had been forcing myself to go out with friends, but it was just something that I felt obligated to do. I felt like I had to do it because like these people were friends with me and we'd been friends for a long time, and I felt bad and I felt guilty. But once I let go of that guilt, like as shitty as that sounds, like I am a bad friend. But I just needed to put myself first. Like I needed to do these things for me or I was going to go crazy. And I do still have some friends who understood that, who understood what I needed to do, my work ethic and all that. And they're very low maintenance friendships. We don't talk all the time. We talk like every 6 months and catch up, but that's totally fine with both of us. Okay. So again, all of this, take it with like nuance or whatever. Like it's very niche advice. So if you think that it sounds awful and that you don't want to do that, don't do it. Okay. But if you're like me, and if any of this resonates with you, that might be the answer you're looking for. You might just have to isolate yourself and get shit done.
And always assume that is what's supposed to keep a man. Oh, he's coming back because I lay it on him. Girl, I don't give a what you lay on this man. But I promise you, when you dealing with a man that got his own drive, own money, and own shit going on, own motion, real motion, not no potion, he's gonna want somebody on his arm that got shit going for themselves. He's gonna take the girl outside that has a lot going for herself and that know how to communicate with these other people in these big rooms.
Most cats, especially when you get over a certain age, they can care less about that. You know what I mean? I need to know if I give you the bag, or can we go get the bag and then can you make the bag bigger? Can we go to this ballroom? Can we leave the ballroom and go to the pool hall and still work the room? That's the type of woman I want. That's the type of woman I have. That's the type of woman I would need. Who can get the bag with me and we make the bag bigger. I could care less about all this other stuff because that's just expense.
Hot take, but women shouldn't have to work. I don't think they should have to work. Men, masculine, grr, hands-on, I don't know, business. Women, cute, princess, little fairy butterfly. Not labor, not use brain, not work. Girl, just be pretty, please. What do you mean I have to make my own money? I'll be stuck in the dang kitchen. Put me in there. I don't care. I'm fine with that. I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll pop a child out for you. I don't want to be in the work field. I don't want to do it. I'm good.
I love it. It's honesty, right? Now, here's the thing. I'm on board, actually, with a lot of this. Women, I don't think should have to work. I think it's very stressful to have to work for women. It just is. Sometimes even, I have to tell you, sometimes even like if like me sitting here and having just the obligation of like, okay, today I have to tape. Sometimes I'm like, I can't do it this week. Why? Because I need to go to the spring. I need to go for a swim. I need to chill, and we move it to the next week, right? And we're we tape these in advance a little bit, so we have some room to breathe. This is one day a week, right? One day. I think women should be able to be like fairy princesses and be pretty and like be chill and all that. The only catch I have to this whole thing is that you need to be feminine. You need to act feminine. You can't be like, I don't want to work, but I want to be like a bitch the whole time. I want to be like boss babish, even though I don't have a job. Like I want to be running the house, and I want to be like, I want a masculine man, and I don't want to have to work, but I also want to behave like a masculine woman. So I make all the rules. I'm like basically the woman of the house, meaning I'm also the man of the house. I, basically rob you of the decision-making process. I'm telling you what to do all day long. I'm this, that, you have to like, if you're going to live in that energy, live in it, right? If you're like cool to be like, I want to make babies, blah, 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 then live in it. Really, really embody it. Also, I think what you're going to see now is you're going to see backlash from women who followed, ate the talking point, got the jobs, were miserable, and were like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this. Like, why do I need to compete with a man? Why do I need to earn my own money? I don't want to do this. It's hard and it's awful and it's stressful. You know what? I want to go have some kids and bake a freaking apple pie. Like, what the hell? Like, I get it that, the feminists won't like me, but I really just want to be happy and not, just twisted inside. Right. Let me tell you something. Be blunt with you. The only reason this show works, people say, oh, but you worked it, right? I just talked about 1 day a week, right? And it's at my own discretion. The only reason this show works for me is because we don't need this money. We don't need it. My husband works. He's the moneymaker, right? And he tells me every day, you can stop doing this whenever you want. I said, no, I like it. It's fun. I like to look at the videos, work with the audience. I get to promote products that I feel really, really strongly about. Everything I promote on the show, I live, I breathe. I tell him, I say, I like it. But if there's a day that I got up and I said, this isn't rewarding for me, I would know that there's no stress. There's no stress. We don't need the money that comes from this show, right? That's the only way that I think women can work, is if it's like extra. Right now, am I grateful to y'all that we grow the channel? Am I grateful to y'all that we get these sponsors from companies that I love and I want to support myself? Like, it's like a mutual, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so like, Sauna Space or Costantino. I'm really excited to be partnering with them because I believe they're doing good for humanity and for you and for health and all these things. So I'm grateful, but I'm also know that like the financial burden is not resting on me at all, right? I could just be like, I just want to go to the beach. Like, in fact, and we went away for 2.5 weeks and I was like, I'm not going to tape. And my husband was like, cool. Do you want to tape in advance? I was like, I think I'll tape a few in advance. He's like, okay, it's really just like that. It needs to feel like the second it becomes like female breadwinner, pressure, stress, women go insane. And that's where you see the autoimmune disease spikes, the hormones out of whack, oh my God, I need progesterone at 32. Why? All of that stems from that. So it's really nice to see a woman just acknowledge, and you're going to see more of these. We've been showing a lot of these where women are just like, well, screw you. Like, I don't care. Like, if you don't like me because I'm not, a crazy feminist, but I actually don't want this crazy stressful life of like being a boss babe. Like, I'm out. Great to see.
I'm the kind of person that never hears the word no. When someone says no to me, I don't hear no. I hear find another way to get what you want. And that's what I always do. I think no is only really pivotal if it ultimately stops you doing what you want to do. If you hear no and you can find another way of getting what you want, that's just as good as hearing a yes.
Black men are choosing white women because Black women are more combative and they're more to handle. That means that Black women need to change their behavior and get on program. Why would I want to go home and deal with a woman that I have to handle?
Black women are more strong-minded. We have things that we want.
Yeah, that's not the question though. If he is doing his job, why would he then want to come home to a woman?
To a Black woman.
No, listen. Why,
to a Black woman.
Say that. Forget about any racist. Just think about this.
Okay.
Why would any man want to go home to a woman that he then has to handle and do another job? He's already out there working and doing things. Why would he want to have to
because
come
she
home?
has a mind of her own, because she feels as though she wants more than what she has. She feels as though she wants more than
you're speaking once again. Think about the man. If you got a man that's being masculine and protecting and providing for you, you nurture that man. You be feminine. You be submissive.